So, I saw this yesterday, and I couldn't really come up with, what to say about it. So I was like, alright, let me give it a day. And I don't know. Like, I didn't hate it. I just don't know what to say about it. Obviously I haven't noticed the damn title. I'm talking about Jurassic World 2, or Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I don't know. Like, I just don't know. Anyway, 30 seconds by. No. I guess I would say, because, okay, so from the trailer, Jeff Goldblum's in it. You kind of already know B.D. Wong is going to be in it again, because he was in the previous one. They're going back to the island to save the dinosaurs, yada yada. There's even one trailer where you see Bryce Dallas Howard have her moment, what was it? It was, really cheesy. It wasn't so bad within the context of the movie, but in the trailer, it was just it was she's on the beach trench, and she's like, we're wrong! We're wrong! Just that kind of thing. Or I don't know, we were lied to. Oh no, it was all a lie! That's even worse. It's it was all a lie! I had to squeak the voice like that. Yeah. Well, I guess, okay. So in the first movie, you're following, the two kids. Or the main kid. The two kids, the teenage kids. And then that's how you meet up with, Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt. Which really in the first one, you didn't have to, I don't know, that's the thing I have with Transformer movies, where I was just can we just not have these little characters? If we're talking about Jurassic Park, let's talk about the damn dinosaurs, obviously. Anyway, I was I don't understand why, when it came to Jurassic World, okay, I do understand why, but I think it was kind of dumb for them to, had to lead to Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, because you knew they were, the stars of the movie, especially Chris Pratt. It's you couldn't, follow him. So, of course, with the second movie, it's well established already. So it kind of just starts off with, Bryce Dallas Howard, and she's got these two little sidekicks, and they're kind of fucking annoying, because they're young millennial scientists kind of stuff. And they're kind of the millennial version of Sam Neill and Laura Dunn's character, where they knew their shit. They're not dumb, but they're just young millennials. So when they yell at each other, it's not, well, one, they're yelling at each other, two, it's very oh god, get on with it, kind of stuff. And the whole time I'm thinking, when are these two gonna die? Oh, you just give me these, two side characters to probably die, so I could care about them, to probably die. But, of course, as always, the movie is about Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. But it's just one, yeah, I couldn't stand those two characters. Oh my god, it's the movie Incarnate, where it was the two assistants, and it really could have just been played by one character. This, seriously, the two assistants really could have just could have been played by one person. Could have been just the girl or the dude. But I get why they had two people, because you need the one girl to kind of take the bullet out of the fucking dinosaur. That's a sentence I just said. And then the other kid to just be the awkward weird kid, So you got the girl who was super confident. She's I'm not take no bullshit from frickin', Ted Levine, and all this shit. And, oh yeah? You shot a frickin' dinosaur? Well, I'm the only one that can save it. You got the overly confident girl. And then the guy who's I'm just awkward. I understand science stuff and coding. I'm awkward. It's I hate these characters. I hate these type of characters. I'm just a nerd. Jesus. So, yeah, the movie, it's funny because, Jeff Goldblum bookends the movie. It's the Senate hearing or whatever the fuck let's call it that. It's in the beginning, and then it ends with him. And seriously, Jeff Goldblum's thing, it's a cameo more than, because, again, at least with, B.D. Wong's thing, he was in there, like, he was in there for more of a reason, whereas, like, okay, so Jeff Goldblum's role is, like, everything you see in the trailer, or hear him say in the trailer. Like, that's it. All that. You know? Which is still fine. Like, I love Jeff Goldblum, and I'm glad they got him. Because I know with the first one, they're like, oh, well, if you got B.D. Wong back, like, why didn't you get Jeff Goldblum? I guess because, you know, fans asked for the Goldblum, and, you know, there he is, you know, and I don't think he needed a larger role anyway, but at the same time, anyway, so yeah, like, his Senate hearing thing bookends it, you know, but yeah, so, Bryce Dallas Howard is told to get Chris Pratt to go on the island so they can, like, save the dinosaurs, and especially because Blue is there, so, like, you know, she convinced him, you see this in the trailer, yada yada, they go, blah blah blah, Ted Levine's people. It's kind of like, this time instead of Vincent D'Onofrio, it's Ted Levine, you know? So there's always like, the big guy with the gravelly voice, he's in it for an ulterior motive, like, really? You know? And mind you, I wasn't that big of a fan of the first, like, Jurassic World anyway, and it got to a point where, like, in the first one, like, if you would have watched my review, it was, like, it just got so convoluted, and, like, my person went to go see it, like, we were just, like, laughing, you know, like, all that stuff. This one, like, I didn't see myself laughing at things that got ridiculous, I just found myself going, like, really? Like, doing that? You know? And it was, like, yes, it's a popcorn movie, blah, 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 and I'm not expecting to get fucking Blade Runner or something out of this, but, you know, it's just kind of like, you know it's gonna make money. I feel like it's like it's like a new type of, like, Transformer movie, although Jurassic Park, you know, started off great. Oh god, let's not make it go into the Pirates territory. The fuck was that last one? But anyway, so yeah, as you saw in the trailer, which he was like, it was all a lie! So pretty much, what they wanted to do, like, the people with ulterior motives, wasn't to save the dinosaurs, you know? So, like, Bryce Dallas Howard, she wants to save the dinosaurs. Chris Pratt kind of didn't really want anything to do with it, but he's like, fine, Blue, I've raised her from little fucker to big fucker, fine. But, like, the ulterior motive was that they were, it's so, like, oh my god, it's like, oh, a fucking cartoon. So it's like, okay, these last remaining, you know, dinosaurs that we were able to save from the island, now we're gonna auction them off to the highest bidder. So of course it's like a runway, but like big metal cage, crank the big, you know, like, you know, lever kind of thing, and then they're out in the cage like, damn, like being put out, and they're like, ah, and they're like, do I get $13 million on the fibbly flarpity, you know, dinosaur, and then all these, like, evil countries are like, yes, $1 bajillion to have my own dinosaur, for reasons, you know, and you're like, okay, sure. Why not? Oh, fuck, I only have 10% on this camera. Alright, gotta keep talking faster. So, yeah, so, like, that happens. You're like, okay, totally didn't see that happening. Especially, you know, with Ted Levine, fucking, one, tranking the damn dinosaur, and two, them having... So, like, you have trank guns, understandably so, because the dinosaurs, you want to make sure to get them down, but then we're also gonna have guns with regular bullets in them, because we're American, you know? So that happens, all this random stuff happens. Oh, Bryce Dallas Howard gets taken to the mansion of the old man with frickin' Richard Attenborough. It's Richard Attenborough, not David Attenborough. It's the guy who does the narrations. Richard yeah. Richard Attenborough. Okay, I have to see it to pronounce it. But yeah, so you get to see, you know, you get to go to his mansion, you get to see him, although the actor has passed away, which that was another thing. I was like, okay, the guy, like, the actual, like, actor, he's dead, like, we didn't need to go to him, we could have, It could have been Sam Neill. It could have been Sam Neill, Laura Dern. But instead, they're going with that, and then they just, like, grabbed any random old actor and, like, put a beard on him and all that stuff. And they're like, see? It's him. And I'm like, no, the teacher I had in freaking art school for math looked more like him than the fucking guy they got for it, but fine. But of course he's old now, because, well, he was old then, because it's been 25 years. And so, like, instead of, like, walking with the cane with the thing with the amber, he's on the wheelchair, like fucking Professor X and shit. Still with the cane with the thing on amber. And it's funny because it's like, it is acknowledged, like, they call him by his name, so you know it's him, and you're like, okay, you're trying to convince me it's him. And it's like the camera had to zoom in on the cane with the amber, with the mosquito in it, for you to be like, oh, it's him, even though we've got, like, an old white dude with extra beardiness, you know, like, it's not Santa, it's him. So, anywho, so yeah, like, they go to him, and they're like, he's never had a daughter before. Then who's this little girl? Turns out it's a fucking clone, because we were able to make dinosaurs. How else? If we're able to fucking make dinosaurs, making a clone ain't gonna be hard. Of, like, a clone of a person. So there's, like, this little girl, which is why in the trailer, which is why I was so confused in the trailer, why, like, there was a little girl under a sheet and why a dinosaur was coming up. I was like, wait, how, woo, he, ha, where is that coming from? But now that makes sense, because that was, like, towards the climax of the movie where all the dinosaurs escaped and the little girl was like, you know. But, is a hurricane about to start? It was hot as fucking balls earlier today. Now it's gonna be all windy. Alright. Nobody talking, my fucking roof just, like, you know, alright. Oh, it's starting to rain, because it was humid. Let me just lower that, so I'm not suddenly torrential downpour or something. Anyway, so, yeah. So yeah, clone of a little girl, and then there was a couple little callbacks, so there's a couple times where you see the little girl, she'll go into, like, a dumbwaiter to kind of, like, travel within this big mansion, and towards the end, of course, there's a part where, like, dinosaurs chasing after her, and she's having trouble closing the dumbwaiter, like, what's-her-face in the first movie with the, I guess, cabinet? Was that a cabinet? It wasn't, like, a fucking, I was about to say a dry machine, are you fucking kidding me? A dishwasher. Dry machine. My god, man, I'm tired. Anyway, so yeah, it's like that, and it's like, okay, so stuff happens. It's just like running away, chasing up okay, dinosaur good, people bad. Bryce Dallas Howard's at least in, like, boots this time and not heels, you know. So you're like, oh, okay, it's a little more practical. And Chris Pratt was kind of, like, backseating in this movie, because he's like, it's more Bryce Dallas Howard, and when there was Chris Pratt, it was just like, it was just stuntman Chris Pratt. Like, the whole time it's like, alright, and then he's gonna run, and then he's underwater, and he shoots a gun underwater, and then he just jumps and tumbles, and da-da-da-da-da-da, and then, you know, okay, then this and that happens, and he's smushed in with, you know, like, anytime, like, he's on camera, it's always, like, stunt stuff that he's doing, which are, you know, like, oh, entertaining things to look at, but, like, more, like, story stuff was her, you know, whereas in the other movie it was just like, oh, him, like, he had a backstory of, like, this is why he's, the important guy in the thing. Now it's like, what? Anyway, so, lots of stuff happens. This movie is, like, 2 hours and 8 minutes long, so stuff happens, so they get off the island, and there's, like, such a sad shot where they're leaving the island, you see the pier, you see the long-necked brontosaurus, and it's like, I'm trying to escape, and then it just gets, like, completely engulfed in, like, smoke and flames, and you don't even see, like, the silhouette anymore, and you're like, why did you do that? Why did you do that? That's so fucking sad. It's like complete opposite. Oh, I can smell the rain. Jesus Christ. It's like complete opposite of how, like, when they first saw the dinosaurs in the original Jurassic Park, you know? Where, like, Laura Dern and Sam Neill sees it, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. You're like, oh my god, dinosaurs, you know? And now you're like, it's dying! So anyway, so they go off the island, like I said, all the dinosaurs are on, like, mainland, you know, on their little runway show being sold off and stuff. So again, a bunch of stuff happens, and then they're like, okay, like, all the dinosaurs have just, they're stuck in, like, this doorway, and they're like, maybe we should, you know, let them out, and then they're like, and then there's, like, this whole weird political debate with the movie, like a weird animal rights thing of, like, well, these dinosaurs were previously extinct, now they're back, should we allow them to be extinct again, obviously, after the whole disaster of the Jurassic World, you know, theme park kind of thing. And people are like, no, we should let them be alive. And I'm like, but they're dinosaurs and they will eat us. Even the plant-eating ones, they'll eat vegans, you know? Actually. So anyway, so it's like, you know, like the adults are like, oh, mind you, the two assistant psychics, they don't die, sadly. Anyway, so all the adults are like, oh god, we can't let them die, but like they're kind of just like, and then the little clone girl's like, anyway, push the big red button. That's a chapstick. Like, push the big red button, big door opens, dinosaurs go out, and then they're in our world. Like, that's kind of, that's where Jeff Goldblum says, he's like, we're in Jurassic World. Like, literally, they're not just on this island contained in a dealie in previous movies. They are literally part of all of us. So, like, the movie ends, with, like, a big underwater one, like, where people are surfing, and I think you see in the trailer somewhere, you're like, oh, what the fuck is that? You know, there's, like, in the sky out there, you see a pterodactyl. You don't hear shit about pterodactyls till the third act. You're like, oh. You know? Anyway, so then it's like, you know, it's Bryce Dallas Howard, Chris Pratt, clone girl, driving off to the sunset, I swear to God. And then it's like, voiceover from Jeff Goldblum being like, this is Jurassic World, we're in Jurassic World, blah blah flippity flarp, you know, and then it's like, now we have to live with them rather than, like, you know, like, it's, you know, the whole thing that they were doing, you know, and it's like, okay, you know, I knew with, like, the last movie, because it was open at the end, where you knew they were gonna do a sequel, especially, like, how well it did in the theaters, you know, like, I knew there was gonna be a second one, and because there was a second one, like, part of me is like, oh, this is gonna end up being a trilogy, and it ends because the whole thing with letting the dinosaurs out instead of letting them die, now I bet the third movie is just them being like, could you imagine if it was like the fucking Flintstones, you know, if everyone's just like modern technology stuff, but it's like, oh, this dinosaur helps me, you know, get the good coconuts at the top of the fucking tree, you know. Anyway, my battery's dying, so I think I actually erased all the trailers. It doesn't matter, because it's the same 5 trailers every time I go to the movies now. Anyway, so yeah, that's Jurassic World. It's a rental at best, you know, like I said, I wasn't even the biggest fan of the first Jurassic World movie. I just saw this because this one wasn't that much better. It doesn't suck. It's just, it's a movie. And I'm just knocking everything over on my desk now. I'm drunk somehow. Anyway, I'm done.